Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankaracārya Madhyamām Asmadacārya Paryantām Vande Guru Paramparaṁ. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devāः Bhadram Pashyemakshaviryajatraः Sthirairangaiः Stuštuvāgumsastanubhih Vyashema Devahilai Yadayuः स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We were looking at the upasana preparation. Actually, how do you prepare yourself so that you can do the upasana or even nididhyasanam, dhyanam and nididhyasanam, depending upon whether you are doing the upasana for preparing yourself or you are doing recollection of whatever Shravana Mananam you have done so that you can overcome your habitual tendencies. For both, these preparations are relevant. So here it was said that Vivikta Deshe cha Sukhasanasthaha. So you go to a place which is quiet, secluded, like that. Okay, and the chakara also includes that the timing also should be proper, so that you are also calm at that time. Okay, at a proper time, and then you have bahya and antara shuchi also, cleanliness. Means externally also that place should be clean. Your mind also should be clean enough. Then you sit samagriva shirash shariraha, like that it is said. This is also a bahuri actually, the one for whom the neck and the head and the body are in one straight line. Okay? And that means you are sitting in something like a padmasana or swastikasana, all these asanas you can take. And also this person is an atyashramastaha, means the one who is there in the last ashrama, a sannyasi. Even in that, the commentator is saying that he is a Paramahamsa sannyasi, not any other sannyasi. And Sakalendriyani Nirudhya means you have withdrawn all your karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, like even a tortoise withdraws that. And then with bhakti also, then you go to your guru, or you don't have to go to your guru because you are already sitting with in this asana, means you actually visualize your guru, or this is basically you are doing namaskara to your manasika namaskara, you can say. You are doing namaskara to your guru. So you start any activity, we start by doing namaskara to our guru. Even whatever our classes, we always start with guru and that, correct? Sadashiva Samarambham. And the first guru is always Ishvara only for us. Like even the first father is Ishvara, first guru also has to be either Sadashiva Samarambham is one verse, or if you are a Vaishnava, you can say Narayanam Padmabhuvam Vasishtam Shaktin Tatra Parasharancha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Mathasya Shishyam. Like that there is another verses there that also sometimes we chant that. Shankaracharya, like that it goes. Okay, anyway. So you do namaskara to your guru, like with bhakti, means guru also is like Ishvara only for us. So that way you do namaskara to guru, and then the actual what upasana you are going to do or what contemplation you want to do, that is being now described. How you do that? So Hrid Pundarikam. Hrid Pundarikam means essentially the heart, the lotus heart is said, because the heart itself is like an inverted lotus, it is said. And it is there even in the Veda. Okay. If you take the Narayana Sutta and all that, there also they talk about this. The Hridaya is always compared to an inverted lotus. And so you also do that upasana. So Hritpundarikam Madhye. So you visualize that in your Hridaya Pundarika only, in this lotus of heart, in the middle of that, then what is it that you are vichintya? Means here you are now visualizing. You are contemplating. What are you contemplating about? Virajam. Virajam means that which is free from ragadvesha. That is called virajam. Vairagya comes from the same thing. Raj is the actual dhatu. Virajam here means the one in which there is no raga. Means dvesha also you have to include. So that which is vigata raga dvesham, you can say. Then vishuddham, that which is pure. Again, pure here means what? It is ever pure. Correct? It is not something which has become impure and then later on it has become pure. It's not like that. Atma is not subjected to any kind of, you can say, karma or papa or any kind of mala. It is even asangaha also, right? It's not connected to anything. So this Atma is ever pure, Vishuddham, and Vishadam, Vishokam. Like this, Vishadam means again clear, without uh, any kind of mala or whatever. So the same meaning. Vishoka means that doesn't have any shoka. The Atma cannot have any shoka. In fact, Pujya Swamiji always used to say one thing which may be difficult for many of you to get it. But what he used to say is the worldly logic is that I know that I am in suffering, means I am the sufferer. Correct? That is the worldly logic. I know my suffering, therefore I am the sufferer. But the Vedantic logic is what? I know my suffering, therefore I am not the sufferer. Because it is also only a whatever I know is not me. Correct? I've been telling you. So even for pain and suffering also it applies. It's not applicable only for joy or anything like that. Understand that. But I can tell you about it now in the class, but when somebody is in difficulty, we can't go and tell that to them. But this is the reality. Atma is Vishokam means it doesn't have any connection with any sorrow or even any mental state or emotions and all that. Those are also becoming evident to Atma, that's all. Whether it is whatever is becoming evident is painful or joyful or whether you like it or you don't like it, everything is only Anatma only. Nothing which you know is yourself. Therefore, from that standpoint also, it is Vishokam only. It is always doesn't have any shoka. And Achintyam, and Atma is again, it cannot be an object of your mind. This I have been telling you also that there are many Upanishadic Vakyas, correct? That yato vacho nivartante aprahapya manasa saha. So from which the words and mind return without, they cannot conquer or they cannot attain this Atma. They all return back. Okay? The mind and the words cannot objectify this Atma. In Gita also it is said that it is aprameyam. It is not a prameya. It is not something which can be objectified and cognized. That is the nature of this Atma. In fact, this particular words like Achintyam or it cannot be known through mind and all. Some people take it and make the whole thing mystic. It's not for that purpose. Understand that. Then they will say that Atma cannot be known through your mind. That means it is beyond the intellect. Then don't study any Shastra. Why are you studying all these books? Sit in meditation. And in the white heat of meditation, Atma will suddenly spring from somewhere, I don't know where. But this kind of mystical thing, people talk about them. They make the whole thing mystic just by because Shastra only says this also, right? It says Achintyam. For a particular reason, it is saying that. We have to understand what is the meaning of Achintyam. So it is not to just make the Shastra study itself irrelevant. Achintyam means you have to understand that it is not something which can be objectified. Means Atma is always of the nature of the subject. That subject can never be objectified and it need not be objectified. That is the other thing. So that's what we have to understand here. Any object of your mind also is not really Atma. That itself is part of your contemplation. That also you have to know. So that is the reason this Achintyam and Avyaktam also is there. Why is it Achintyam means? Because it is not having anything manifest in itself. It is Nirgunam really. Correct? Here the Avyaktam can be translated as unmanifest also, but more importantly, it is why it cannot be thought about, because it does not have any manifest guna. Because normally a word or mind can only objectify that which is a dravya or guna, or which has a kriya or a sambandha, correct? So either it is a substance or a quality, or it has some activity, or it is related to something. So generally it is said that words can only reveal these four things. But in the case of Atma, none of these things are there, or none of these things are manifest in the Atma itself. That's why it is Avyaktam. There is nothing Vyakta in the Atma like that. It is Nirgunam Brahma or Nirguna Atma. Therefore, it is Achintyam. The Achintyam is because all these things are not Vyakta in the Atma. Like that we can understand here, because otherwise normally Avyakta means it is taken as Maya. But in this case, the whole contemplation is on the nature of the Atma. So we have to interpret this Avyakta differently. In the Atma itself, none of these things are Vyakta. Therefore, it is not Chintya, it is Achintya. Then Ananta Rupam also. So Anantam also we have to understand, correct? Anantam means normally whatever we know, everything has some end, or it is all limited. But this Atma is endless means this also we have to understand it in three ways. It is endless. That's what normally in the Shastra we say. It is Desha, Kala, Vastu, Aparichinnaha. Now, Desha by space we say it is not limited by space, because space itself is a product of this Atma. So how do you know? Again, we have to only go to the Shruti Pramana for this. Of course, even modern scientists now talk about space-time being created from Big Bang and all that, but even 100 years before or 150 years before, everybody thought that space-time is absolute. It's not created. But the Upanishad is very clear. It says, Tasmad etasmad atmanaha akasha sambhutaha. It is there in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So Akasha is created. It is there in other Upanishads also. There are Sriti Prakriya in many Upanishads. And Akasha is created for us. So Atma is the Karana of Akasha also. Therefore, Akasha, it is greater than Akasha. It transcends the space also. It is not limited by space. It's not something located in space. That is very important for us to understand. Therefore, you cannot reach you don't, to know the Atma, you don't have to go to any particular loka or anything, because it is not even located in the space. In fact, it's the other way around. Space is located in Atma. That is the understanding one needs to have. So, Ananta means space-wise we understand like that. Similarly, Kala, with reference to time also, Yad Bhutam, Bhavat, Bhavishyat, and all that. If you take even in Mandikya Upanishad, it is there. Or in many other Upanishads also. Always when we talk about Brahman or Atma, we say that it was there, it is there, it will be there, all these things. Whatever was there before also is Atma, whatever is there now also is this Atma only, whatever is going to be there also, the same thing means again, it is not subjected to time. It transcends time also. In fact, with reference to time, I have already told you, even we cannot define what is now. With reference to space also, it is funny, correct? Point. The whole geometry is based on point, correct? But how do they define a point? Point is something which does not occupy any space. Point itself does not occupy any space. Even if you study geometry, they say that point is something which does not occupy any space. but a series of points become a line. I don't know how. That itself is Maya, correct? Then, because that which does not occupy any space, a series of that now becomes a line which you are drawing in 2 dimension and all. That means that is really Maya, because you have now created a line out of points which do not occupy any space. Similarly, now also is like that. You cannot define what is now. Whether it is second or microsecond, nanosecond, picosecond, means it will have to end up only in the cognizing Atma. Time is nothing but it is also another adhyastha on the Atma only. And therefore now also you cannot define. Now is no time really. But a series of now becomes some kind of a time span, correct? So this is all only Maya only, really speaking. If you analyze something, it is not there. But if you just take it at a macro level, it is there. But if you start looking at it, there is nothing. Similarly, objects also, correct? Object-wise also, every object is Brahman only, because the very existence of each and every object is Brahman's alone. Any object we see in this world, you may think it is solid, concrete and all that. Or this wood is solid, you can say. The table is solid, chair is solid. But what is solid? These are only name and forms again. The very existence of this, whatever you call as a solid substance, is not its own. That existence is only Sadvastu's existence, which is Brahman, because Upanishad is teaching that Sadeva Somya idam agre asit. Means right now we are seeing this differentiated world of names and forms. There are so many variegated names and forms are there here. But all these names and forms, before they became differentiated like that, like this, or before they became manifest like this, they were all only one Sadvastu, which was Ekam Eva Advitiyam. Okay. Means Ekam Eva Advitiyam means what? One, only one. Ekam Eva means only one without a second. So the three words are used. Only one without a second. So one and only one. These two, again we say that Sajatiya Vijatiya Swagata Veda Rahitaha. Like that it is said in the Shastra. Each word points out to one of those things. So one means it is only, even if you say that it is of a particular species or a category, there is only one of that species. Like Akasha, there is only one Akasha, correct? There is no second Akasha, even though you may say there are many part spaces and all that. That is all only Upadhikrita. It's all only due to the conditioning factor which is a part. Akasha itself in reality is not divided or anything. It is indivisible actually, because it is very subtle. It is the first Maha, it is the first element, correct? When we look at it, but it is the subtlest also. So it is an indivisible element, and everything is in Akasha, but Akasha itself is not divided or tainted by anything. Now, similarly, this Atma is the cause of the Akasha also. So, Atma also is there everywhere, and its existence alone is the existence of each and every object which is there here. There is nothing else other than this Satvastu. So anyway, so it is one means there is no other entity of the same category. Also, one only means there is no entity of any other category also. Suppose you say there is one cow, there can be one more horse also, correct? Or one more donkey or whatever. So Vijatiya Beda can still be there. In this case, only one means there is only one within its category also, there is only one. There is nothing else in any other category also. There are no other categories, in fact. That way, even this one category is superfluous, because it's only one thing is there. Okay, but is there any Veda within it? Like there is one tree. Now you can say it is having branch, trunk, leaves, etc. That is called Swagata Veda. That means Is it having any parts? That also is negated, saying without a second. One without a second it is. It doesn't have any parts also. It is a partless whole. That is the nature of the Sadvastu. Now this partless whole, how do we understand? Means, in fact, Atma is when you say I, you can understand the partless whole by what we refer to as I, because our I sense is a partless whole really. Even if you lose one finger, you don't become 99% I, correct? You are always partless whole only. The I sense is always a complete I. You may lose one finger, or somebody loses one leg, means he doesn't become 75% I or anything. Even in the eyes of the law, if you kill an handicapped person, you won't get 75% punishment. Any human being is considered to be a whole only, always. Even if you take the law of the land. So this I sense is something which is a partless whole. We can understand that very easily. The I sense is always a partless whole, and that is what we are talking about here. And of course, you are the partless whole by sleeping also. I am there only as existence. You may have a doubt. What is this only existence? How can there be only existence without any quality, any second thing, and and also without any division within itself and all that? That is what when you are sleeping, what is there? You are there only as existence. There is nothing else there. There is no part, there are no parts in that. Only Satvastu alone is there. Of course, but you still get up. Therefore, we say that there is a bija is still there. There is a causal state is still there. That's why you get up. Otherwise, if you sleep, you should become a mukta and not get up only. That's not the case. But at least we can still understand from our own sleep experience that I am there only as existence in sleep, correct? There is nothing else. There are no other perceivable category of objects or anything. There is no division in me also. There is no second thing, but I always exist as just that Sadvastu. So Sata Somya Sampanno Bhavati, and all Upanishad also says, when you go to sleep, you become one with the Sadvastu. Swam Apito Bhavati, like that it says. So you become one with this Sadvastu during sleep, means that you are there only as existence. So that's what we are talking about here. Even after a pralaya, so it is like that only. The Sadvastu alone is there. There is nothing else. There is no second thing. But then from that, again, it visualizes Tadaikshata, Bahusyam, and all that. So then let me become many. Then the whole Srishti starts. Everything is there. But all that visualization and all is only an appearance. Understand that. The main thing we have to understand is existence is the noun. Names and forms are the adjective. But in language, always there is a confusion because we make existence as the adjective. Right? We say existent part, existent clay, existent table, all that. That is the mistake of the language. Language deludes you, in fact, because it is actually party existence, clayey existence, like that we have to say. Because existence alone is there. That is the Sadvastu. And in fact, why it alone is there? Because Bhashyakara beautifully explains this in the second chapter, 16th verse in Bhagavad Gita. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, nabhavo vidyate sataha. Like that, there is a verse there. In fact, if I translate this verse, it will look very silly because all it says is there is no nasato vidyate bhavaha. Asataha bhavaha na vidyate. Means what? The non-existence does not have any existence. And existence does not have any non-existence. It cannot go. So then what is this? This is like saying the obvious, correct? What do we understand? Then Bhagavan says, Ubhayor api drishtontaha tvanayos tattva darshitihi. The one who understands these two statements is the one who knows the reality. He is the tattva darshi, he is the jnani. So then Bhashyakara then writes a beautiful bhashya there. He says that in any cognition, what changes? Whatever is changing is only the names and forms are changing. But the Sadbuddhi never changes. Sadbuddhi is the invariable. So if I say table is, correct? Isness is there, tableness also is there, table is. Pot is, potness is there, isness is there. Clay is, clayness is there, isness is there. In all these cognitions, what is changing? Tableness goes and potness comes when you cognize pot. But isness is still there, correct? Because table is, pot is, clay is, whatever you say, it is all is only. So that is the Sadbuddhi, he says. The Sadbuddhi never goes away. Because that alone is the reality. That is Satyam. That is invariable. It can never be negated. But the names and forms are all changing all the time. Then they become mithya. They don't have an existence of themselves. That even all this, whatever we see as this concrete world itself, is only name and form. We can understand even better now with all the scientific advances we have. Like I said, everything is only 99% space according to quantum physics. So we can understand it even better now because most scientists understand this Maya because the whole macro world is Maya for them. So how did all this only a few particles become all this so many infinite varieties of things? Nobody knows. It's all only they will just say some, I don't know what explanation they have, but the macro world is a Maya only. It is only an appearance because at a fundamental level they say only 3 quarks are enough. From that everything you can derive all kinds of atoms and molecules and this and that. So what is all this? It's only an appearance. And if you reduce it, it is all only space, means again finally it reduces only to the observer. And that observer is what we are talking about here, correct? That is the conscious reality we are talking about. The Satvastu is not just Sat alone. It is also because it Tad Aikshata, it visualized. The same Upanishad says that Sadvastu visualized, means it is conscious also. It is a conscious entity. That's why it was able to visualize. It's Jnanam. It is not just Satyam alone. It is also Jnanam. It is a conscious being. And that's why it was able to visualize. By visualizing, it had all knowledge. In fact, it just got all knowledge. Means that all knowledge only is manifest as this entire Srishti. So that single Vastu alone is everything. That's what we have to understand. Means Vastutaha also aparichinnaha. It is not limited by any Vastu because in all Vastu, the real substance is only this same Brahman alone is there. The names and forms do not count really. They are all only names and forms. They are like different bubbles and foam and waves and all that. But in reality, there is only water, correct? You go to the ocean, like that. This entire Srishti is all only names and forms. It's all only an appearance in the Sadvastu. Sadvastu alone is the reality. Therefore, it is not limited by any object also. Vastutaha. Because it is Jagat Karanam. It is Sarva Karanam. The Karana Karya Prakriya only establishes the Vastutaha Anantyam of Brahman. Not only Vastutaha, even because it is the Karanam of space also. Even spatially also, the Karna Karya Prakriya only establishes that. And time also is involved in that. So like this, when we say Ananta, Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinnam, that we have to understand. That's what we are contemplating on here. And it's also Shivam. Shivam means what? Auspicious, the most auspicious. There is nothing more auspicious than the Atma Swarupam itself. That is the most auspicious. Shivam. And also Prashantam, Amritam, Brahma Yonim, like this. We can take it separately also. So Prashantam means again here, the commentator is saying Avidyadi Dosha Rahitam. Means it doesn't have any, because all the problems come because of starting from Avidya only. Ignorance onwards, then Avidya, Kama, Karma, everything comes. But here this is Prashanta means everything is resolved. Means there is nothing, there is no Avidya and also any of the Avidya Karya, it is not there in this. And then Amritam means again it is not subjected to time. It is not a mortal, it is immortal, and it is not touched by time itself. It transcends time. That part has already come in Anantam also, but even in Amritam also, we have to understand it specifically with reference to time. This Atma is not bound by time. It transcends all the three periods of time. In fact, time itself is there in it only. Also, by understanding that it is unchanging, also it transcends the time. Because time means change. There is no time without cognizing change. So here again, Atma being it doesn't change, correct? It is avikriya. There is no vikriya in the Atma. There is no change in the Atma. Therefore, it is Amritam. So, and also Brahma Yoni. So it is taken as two words only. Brahma separately, Yonim separately. Brahma means it is the greatest, it is the biggest. Big as a noun. Okay. So Brahma again means limitless only. Brihatvat Brahma. And it is greater than anything you can think of. So in the Kathopanishad also it is said, correct? Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. Even that these sentences look very contradictory because Atma is bigger than the biggest. Whatever you can think of, it is bigger than that. It is smaller than the smallest also. What is the meaning of that? Means it transcends all kinds of measurements. Any kind of parimana you can think of, it transcends that measurement itself. It is not subjected to any kind of measurement, whether it is small measurement or big measurement. It is beyond all measurement. That is the idea here. Same thing here. Brahma means it is beyond all your capability to measure, beyond anything you can measure. And Yonim means again it is Jagatkar. It is the source of everything. So Brahman itself is always defined as the Jagat Karanam. Janmatyasya Yataha is the sutra also. Even in the Taittiriya Upanishad also it is said Yatova imani bhutani jayante ye najata nijivanti yat prayanti api samvishanti, like that. So from which everything is born, by which everything is sustained, into which everything resolves back. That is the Brahman. Same thing comes in Gita also, correct? Yatah pravrittir bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. Also talks about the same thing, and even many other Gita verses are there. So like this is the source of everything. It is the karana for everything, and all the karya becomes mithya because of that. The karana alone is satyam. Whenever we talk about Brahman as Jagat Karanam, the only reason we talk about that is to account for whatever you are seeing here, and also to show that whatever you see here, it's all only name and form, it's all karya. Brahman alone is Karanam and Karanam alone is Satyam. Mritika ityeva Satyam. Like that, the Chandogya Upanishad is teaching you. So the Karanam alone is Satyam. Karya is all only Nama Rupa. It becomes Mithya. It doesn't really count only. In fact, even when you see the words, the Satvastu is there as Ekameva Advitiyam only. It doesn't become any different. Just because we see the world, now the Satvastu has not become many. It is still Ekameva Advitiyam only. That's what we have to contemplate here. So it is the yoni of everything. And then further what? It is Tata Adi Madhyanta Vihinam. So this Adi Madhyanta Vihinam is there. Interesting. Okay. So Adi means beginning. So only for something which is created, there is a beginning, correct? The pot was created means it had a beginning. In fact, the Nayayika takes that very seriously. They even talk about different kind of abhavas. They talk about some pragabhava. So he says when the pragabhava is destroyed, the pot comes into being. Okay, the prior non-existence is gone whenever the pot is created. And then the pot is there. Once the pot is destroyed, then he says there is a pradhamsa bhava. So according to the Nayayika, he says the pragabhava doesn't have a beginning, but it ends. The pradhamsa bhava has a beginning, but afterwards it is endless and all that. They talk about all these things. Now, for Atma, there is no Pragabhava, so there is no Pradvamsa Bhava and all that. It is never created, it never comes into being after creation or anything like that. Nor it will get destroyed and not be there. Correct? To say that only, here we are talking about this Tam Adi Madhyanta Vihinam. So it doesn't have any Adi, it doesn't have any Madhya in the sense that after creation it is there, like that it is not there. Understand that? And then it will come to an end and then it will not be there. That also is not there. Antam also is not there for Atma. Adi Madhyantarahitam. Like that, Swamiji also has written a song in which he uses this word Adi Madhyantarahitam Paripurnam. Bhavaye Paramatmanam. Like that, there is a song is there in Arabic. And here, there he writes Adi Madhyantarahitam Paripurnam Bhavaye. Like that. Anyway, you can go and listen to that song. Adi Madhyanta Rahitam. Here Vihinam is there. Anyway, both have the same meaning. Ekam. It is again Ekam Eva Advitiyam. I already talked about that. But it is there. It is the only thing which is there. And Vibhum means again this all pervasive. It is there everywhere. Nowhere you can say that this Atma is not there. So many words are used, correct? Very interesting here. Why so many words have been used? Because each word is actually removing some misconception about this Atma. That's what you have to understand. Because with reference to ourselves, we always take ourselves as limited. That is our problem. Now, if you take each of these words, correct? Mostly they are all addressing your limitations. Whenever it says anything you take, Ananta Rupam, means you think you are actually in space time, you are limited by space, you are limited by time, and you are not, if you are a human being, you are not something else, correct? You are limited by object also. But in reality, the Atma Swarupa is not limited by anything. Similarly, even specifically with reference to time means you think you are a Mrita, but Atma Swarupa is Amritam. You think you are subjected to Papa, Punya and all that, but actually Atma is Vishuddha. It has no connection also. It's always pure. Okay. You think you have Ragadvesha and all that, Atma is Viraja. Correct? You think you are subjected to sorrow, Atma is Vishokam. Correct? So these things are all not just some words like that. Actually, you have to connect it to yourself because that is your problem. Each of these words actually are addressing a wrong notion which you have about yourself. That is the contemplation here, really. And you have to see clearly that none of the problems which I think I have is there for me. In fact, that is the reality. My reality is that I have none of these problems because each of these words they are revealing to me my own nature only. These are all not about some object sitting somewhere in Swarga. It is not about Bhagavan or anything. It is about yourself. All these words are really words which are describing your very nature. And each word is actually removing some misconception about yourself. That's what you have to see that. That is the contemplation here. And so you can understand. Even Brahma also same thing, correct? You think you are only there occupying this body. Means it says Vibhum. No. You are not some puny being confined to a particular body mind sense complex. You are the one who gives existence to everything, in fact. You are there everywhere. There is nowhere you are not there really. So like that, Vibhum, then Chidanandam, you are Chit, and of course you are not Jadam, but why it has to say you are Chit? Because you take the Jada body as yourself, correct? That is the one fundamental adhyasa, is that you are taking the body which is jada as yourself, and you identify, you place the I on that, then suffer for all the bodily limitations. That's why it has to say that you are chit also. You are only chaitanyam. You are not anything jada. All the jada vastus you have to give up as anatma. That includes the mind also, because in our Srishti Prakriya, mind is also only created from the Sattva Guna of all these Mahabhutas. I told you, correct? So the mind also is Jada only. Everything in the mind is Jada. You don't have to identify with your mind. You have to give it up. So you are only Chaitanyam. Similarly, you think you are subjected to sorrow, grief and all that. Of course, already Vishokam was there. That was negative. Here now it says Anandam. You are the source of all Ananda. And this Ananda is not some experiential Ananda. Understand that. In fact, in the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, Bhashyakara makes a big argument about this. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma is there at the end of the third chapter. So the Brahman is given the Lakshana of Vijnanam and Ananda. There, Bhashyakara then takes up that Ananda word and then says, this Ananda, is it an experienced Ananda or not? If it is to be experienced, then this Ananda will come to an end, correct? Because every experience is only limited. It starts in time, it will end in time. So, if it is an experienced Ananda, how can it be the Lakshana of Brahma, which is Ananta, which is not even subjected to time? So, like this, Bhashyakara raises a question. But the Purvapakshi says, if it cannot be experienced only, what kind of Ananda it can be then? Ananda means I have to experience it, then only it is Ananda, like that the Purvapakshi is arguing. But then Bhashyakara establishes finally that it is the Ananda Swarupa only, it is the source of all Ananda. And Upanishad itself says that Yo vai bhuma tat sukham. All other things are alpam, it says, in fact. It's all, and even this Brihadaranyaka also later on it says, this Ananda alone, all the jivas, all the pranis, matram upajivanti and all that. Only this same Ananda, only a portion of that only they experience. Even the Vishaya Sukha which we experience, the experiential Ananda also is only a manifestation of this Ananda Swarupa alone. Because Ananda cannot come from anywhere else, that we have already analyzed, correct? Ananda is not something external, it's not an external substance, nor it is a quality of any substance. There is nothing called Ananda externally. Ananda is always, the source of Ananda is always only yourself. Therefore, you are the source of all Ananda, that is your very nature. You don't have to go behind any experiential Ananda also. Okay? So, Chidanandam. So, it is the incomparable Ananda. And Chit means it is Swaprakasha also we have to take. It is self-revealing, conscious being, which is the source of all Ananda. And Arupam, Adbhutam. So many words now. So it doesn't have any other rupa also. Arupam means basically doesn't have, by itself it doesn't have any rupa or a form or anything. It is formless. And Adbhutam and all, and finally it is all Ascharyam only, because Bhagavan also says Ascharyavat Paschyati. So once you know the Atma Swarupa, it is a great Ascharya only. It is Adbhuta. Swarupa is Ascharya. So it is Ascharya Karam, Adbhutam. So these are all so many words. Vichintya, you contemplate on all these words. Like I said, you have to contemplate it in such a manner that it removes wrong notions about yourself. Each word has to remove a certain wrong notion which you have about yourself. Then only it is effective. It's not some word you are just thinking about or some alphabet soup or anything like that. Each word has a certain relevance to yourself and you have to see that. In fact, it is not over yet. it continues. Correct? This particular contemplation, now it becomes saguna. Till now it's all nirguna. Okay. But upasana means you have to do saguna upasana also is presented here. So now next he says Uma Sahayam Parameshwaram Prabhum Trilochanam Neelakantham Prashantam. Like this, the saguna upasana also is given here. So Uma Sahayam, Uma comes in Kaivalyopanishad also. Understand this. So in the Kaivalyopanishad there is a story is there. What is the story? The Devas have defeated the Asuras and they are all very proud that we know everything, we can do anything and all that. Then one Yaksha appears. Okay. Then they are all suddenly some strange Yaksha is there, all of these Devas, they don't know what to do. Then they send one by one. Okay. They first send Vayu, Agni, like that. And then Agni goes to the Yaksha, who are you? Then the Yaksha says, you first burn this grass. Then I'll tell you. Agni is not able to even burn that grass. Vayu goes. Vayu also very proudly is asking, who are you? He says, you first lift this grass. Can you blow this grass? Means Vayu is not able to do anything. Vayu also returns without asking who that Yaksha is. Then Indra goes. Indra is more intelligent. Okay? He takes the help of Uma. Like that, the story is there. And Allah, because he takes the help of Uma, then he knows that Yaksha is none other than Brahman alone. So like that Uma Sahayam here means here Uma Sahayam can be a word which is referring to Shiva himself. Okay. Or we can even take it that the one who is attained with the Sahaya of Uma. Correct? So Uma is Brahma Vidya only. Brahma Vidya itself is feminine. Correct? You take the gender of that word. So Uma is Brahma Vidya, Uma Sahayam, and then what? Further it is Parameshwaram. Of course, Parameshwaram means he is the Ishvara of all the beings, starting from Brahmaji onwards. Okay, Parameshwara. So from Parameshwara means it is greater than the Trimurtis also we have to say. That is the Ishvara. The Ishvara alone is appearing as Brahma or Vishnu or Shiva and all that. This is the Parameshwara, Jagat Karanam Brahma only. So that Parameshwara, and who is a Prabhu also. Prabhu means one who is capable of everything. Sarva Shaktiman, we have to say. Prabhu here is who has all the Virya, all the Shakti. That is the Prabhu. And then now Trilochanam also. One who has 3 eyes. Again, the third eye is supposed to be the Jnana Chakshu, correct? And in popular understanding, we all have seen some movies and all that, correct? Whenever the third eye opens, it is like a fire is coming and then it basically burns down everything. Right? Even you would have seen like Thiruvalayadal or whatever movies and all they show. Whenever the third eye opens, then some fire comes and it burns down everything. So what is the meaning of that? Why is that third eye burns everything? Means you have to understand the meaning there. The meaning is that third eye is Jnana Chakshu, means in Jnanam there are no names and forms, correct? Jnani only sees the Vastu. Like we said yesterday, correct? Parattil Maraindade, Parmudal Bhutamanal we say. So all the names and forms resolve into the Vastu. And Jnani sees only the Vastu with the Jnana Chakshu. That's what is shown as fire, because fire is the only thing which resolves all the names and forms, correct? Whatever you put into the fire, everything becomes only ash. There is no separate name and form anymore. You can bring any number of things, different names and forms. Even in the yajna, we put all sorts of things nowadays, correct? Starting from apple, orange, some saris, and coconut and whatnot. But at the end of the day, everything is only ash. Means all names and forms are gone. Whatever is left is the ash. And what do we call that ash? Vibhuti, right? Why are you calling the ash as Vibhuti? Vibhuti means really glory, correct? Vibhuti means glory. Vibhuti Yoga is there in the Gita also, where Bhagavan is listing out all his glories. Wherever something glorious is there, it is me, he says. Then why are we calling the ash as the glory? Because ash represents Brahman. Ash is the Vastu. Because when all the names and forms are gone, there is only one Vastu or one ash alone is there. That ash is now the glorious Vastu actually for us. That's why we call it the Vibhuti. So the Vibhuti represents Brahman. So this is our understanding. So the third eye also basically is Jnana Chakshu, means the Jnana Chakshu burns all the names and forms, and whatever is left behind is the Vastu alone. The Jnana Chakshu sees only the Vastu. There is nothing else. So that's why Trilochanam. So Shiva has the third eye also, the Jnana Chakshu, and or you can say it is all, generally it is also shown as this one eye is Soma, Chandra, another is Surya and all that, correct? And this one is Agni. So the third eye is really Agni. Agni represents knowledge. And even like if you take the Dakshinamurti's form I was talking that day, I think I did not complete it. Somehow I started it and I got into something else, I think. But if you take Dakshinamurti's form also, I was trying to tell you that every form of our Devata basically represents the entire world. That is the idea. But Dakshinamurti represents it even better because in the Dakshinamurti's form only you can see all the Panchabhutas. Because for if you start with Akasha, Dakshinamurti has a Damuru, right? So Damuru has Akasha in that. Okay. Then the Vayu is represented very interestingly in the Dakshinamurti because Dakshinamurti has his bandana, right? He has tied his hair with a cloth, ribbon or whatever. Why is he tying it? Because to so that it doesn't, the wind does not blow it away. So the wind is represented by that bandana which he is tied, he has tied. Then he also holds Agni also in the hand. There is Agni in the hand. Of course, Apaha Ganga is sitting right on his head. So water also is there. Then he is sitting under the Vata Vriksha only. That itself is Prithvi. So Panchabhutas are represented within Dakshinamurti itself. And then, but what about all the celestial heavenly bodies and all that? Means that's why his eyes themselves are Surya and Chandra, means all stars, all satellites, everything also is represented by that. Then what about Chetana Vastu? Means that Apasmara is there. Okay, that he is the ego or the jiva, but he holds that fellow with his head, with his legs like this, correct? It's under his control, the Apasmara, and he is always young. Dakshinamurti means that shows the Atma Swarupa. Atma Swarupa is Ananda Swarupa, means it never can get old. Dakshinamurti is always young. That's why the Dhyana Shlokam itself is Chitram Vatataror Mule Vidha Shishya Guru Yuva. So Vichitram means here Vichitram. Something strange is there under the banyan tree. What is the strange thing? Guru is so young, all the Shishyas are very old. Vidhaha. Why the Shishyas are Vidha means Jivas have had countless births and deaths. Every Jiva is old only. We are all very old Jivas. But Atma Swarupa is always young. Bhagavan is always young because he also knows that Aham Ananda Swarupaha iti. Therefore, Dakshinamurti is always young, he is Yuva only, he is Tarunaha. But all the Sanakadi Shishyas are all old people with big dadi and all that. That's how we represent also in the sculpture. It's beautiful. So like this, anyway, so what I was saying is, all our devatas, in that the representation is that it's not that they are sitting somewhere in Swarga and they are not here. Their very Pratima represents the fact that this entire Sriti is nothing but a manifestation of Bhagavan only. Bhagavan is always there everywhere. And that is there in every Puranic story also, the same thing comes out. And that understanding is there in India. Even if you go to some tribal and ask also, they will say that. If you ask anybody in India, Bhagavan, where is Bhagavan, means they will say everywhere. This kind of an understanding is there only in India. Understand? If you go to US and ask somebody, they will say God is in heaven. They may show even up. But that guy doesn't know up here, up in USA is in one direction, up in Japan will be in some other direction. So there is no real up. So I don't know where they are pointing there. So anyway, this understanding we all have, but it may not be assimilated correctly. They have a certain understanding because of osmosis, because we are born here, we have grown up here, we still pick up certain things just like that, but it has to be assimilated, and only that vision alone makes everything meaningful in our culture, correct? That's why we can worship Bhagavan in any form, and all names are Bhagavan's name for us. And we have this beautiful puja and all that we can do because we call Bhagavan, do all the puja, and we can even send back. You say, okay, yatasthanam pratisthapayami, you go back to wherever you came from, we can do all that. There is no problem for us because any worship, you cannot worship the formless, correct? Even those who say that Allah is formless and all that, they have to see one particular direction only. Why? Or why the only that particular name? Name also is basically a symbol, correct? So you cannot say that you cannot have a physical symbol, but I will have a sound symbol. What is the big deal? Sound also is a symbol. So you cannot do any worship without having symbols. It is impossible. Worship, puja, prayer, etc. requires form. There is nothing wrong in that. The formless only can be contemplated. Formless has to be known. When we go to the level of formless, it is about knowledge. But when we talk about worship, there should always be, it can only be done through forms. We can only relate to forms. And for us, all that relationship also, there are so many rituals and pujas and all that we can do that it is all beautiful. It is there, it's available. Our ancestors they have handed it over to us so that we are able to take advantage of all these things. It is because the kind of details which are there is mind-boggling, correct? We built one temple and then all the rituals which we are doing there, when I look into that, so many things are there. And it's like some kind of a technology only, correct? They have listed out this is what you have to do, and they have some reason also for all that. They even give all that. And it's all beautiful really. So anyone upasana, whichever, see that's why the Shanmata Sthapanacharya we say Shankara is. So you may have any Ishta Devata, but then even for one particular Devata, all the things which you can do for that Devata, if you do that properly, you will become fit for studying Vedanta. Because starting from puja onwards, and so many stotras and kavachas and sahasranama and all that. For every Devata it is there, correct? Whichever Devata you take, it is there. Then the Devata related Homa and also fire rituals are also there. Then the Devata can have a temple and temple related rituals and pujas and everything are also there. And finally, the Devata related mantras and japa and upasana also you can do. So starting from Kayikam up to Kayikam, Vachikam, Manasam, everything is there for any one Devata you take. And so much literature is there. It's not, there will be, typically there will be a Purana, and in that Purana there will be a lot of stories. Starting from stories onwards, everything is there for us. And you can really get into that Devata worship, and that Devata will protect you, in fact. There is no doubt about that. So anyway, so we will continue this. We came up to Trilochana. Okay, we will continue after that in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.